Welcome back to Derry, Maine, but this isn't the town you remember. We've been pulled all the way back to 1962, the absolute height of the Cold War, where the shadows are, well, a little bit longer, and a very familiar evil is just starting to stir. And you know what? This time, it's the adults we really need to worry about. Look, we all know the story of the Losers Club, right? This amazing group of outcast kids who somehow stood together against an ancient, shape-shifting evil. Their courage basically defined a generation. And that's the big question this entire prequel series wants to answer. 27 years before the Losers Club, when Pennywise woke up to a world obsessed with atom bombs and paranoia, what was the last generation doing? Did they fight? Did they just hide? Well, the answer is chilling. They didn't just fail to stop the evil. No, they amplified it. The adults of 1962 essentially poured gasoline on a cosmic fire, leaving a much stronger, much angrier monster for their own kids to deal with down the line. So Pennywise's new 27-year cycle kicks off with a real bang. A young boy named Matty Clements is brutally murdered after running into a very strange family. But here's the thing. Unlike other cycles, this time, the awakening doesn't go completely unnoticed. And right away, we have these two parallel stories unfolding at the same time. On one side, you've got Maddie's friends, just kids, driven by pure fear and loyalty, trying to figure out what happened to their friend. And on the other, you have Major Leroy Hanlon, who's new to the Derry Air Force Base, and he immediately suspects there's a cover-up tied to some top-secret project. The kids' investigation leads them straight into the season's first, just horrific set piece. Inside the local movie theater, Pennywise traps them. He shows up as this grotesque human lampshade and a giant bird creature and just slaughters two of the children. The only one who makes it out, Lily, escapes clutching the severed hand of her friend's little sister. I mean, it's a trauma that just hangs over the entire season. So while the kids are reeling from that horror, the military storyline drops the show's biggest bombshell. It turns out the United States government knows all about the creature living under Derry. They know. Now get this, the really insane part is the sheer arrogance of it all. The military doesn't want to destroy IT. They want to control it. They've called it Project Cage, an operation with the absolutely bonkers goal of turning Pennywise into a weapon to use against the Soviets. On paper, their plan seems simple enough. Step 1, use psychics to pinpoint where the creature is. Step 2, trap it inside some kind of metaphysical cage using these ancient artifacts. Step 3, weaponize its power. Of course, when you're dealing with a cosmic entity of pure evil, things rarely go according to plan, do they? So let's look at the key players here. You have General Shaw, he's the mastermind, totally blinded by his Cold War ambition. Then there's Major Hanlon, he's the chosen instrument, picked because his combat record supposedly makes him uniquely fearless. And, in a fantastic crossover, a young Dick Halloran, yes, that Dick Halloran from The Shining, is being used by the military for his psychic shine to help them find Pennywise. So you might be wondering, how in the world did they plan to cage a creature that's older than the planet itself? Well, the answer, as it turns out, is not of this Earth. And this is where you just see the scale of their hubris. The military has found 13 shards from the very asteroid that carried IT to Earth eons ago. They call them the pillars, and they believe that if they arrange them in a specific pattern, they can create a cage strong enough to hold a godlike being. They are literally playing with cosmic fire. Okay, so this all leads to the season's darkest, most pivotal moment. It's an event that book readers will know all too well, but it comes with a horrifying new twist. This is where the military's plan goes catastrophically wrong. To put it bluntly, their plan doesn't just fail. It backfires in the most spectacular and devastating way you can possibly imagine. It's like this awful chain reaction. During a confrontation, one of the crucial pillars gets destroyed, and that shatters the containment field. But this doesn't weaken Pennywise. It unleashes his influence like a psychic tidal wave all across Derry. The entity then taps into the town's existing racism and manipulates a hate group into burning down the Black Spot, a nightclub for Black soldiers. So the big takeaway here is that the massacre wasn't just a tragedy. It was a feast. This horrific act of violence and all the terror it created effectively supercharged Pennywise. It fed him enough fear to power him up for the season's grand finale. The military didn't cage a monster, they fed it. All right, let's get to the finale, because this is where the series just completely flips everything we thought we knew about Pennywise, his motivations, and his very nature. Okay, this is maybe the most crucial piece of new lore we get. We experience time as a straight line, right? Past, present, future. But Pennywise doesn't. For him, it's all happening at once. He knows the future. He already knows about the Losers Club. He knows they're going to defeat him in 1989. And that brings us to this absolutely bone-chilling line. During the finale, Pennywise goes after this one specific girl who seems totally random, but then he reveals his true motive. She's the future mother of Richie Tozier. He isn't just killing for food or for fun anymore. He is actively trying to prevent his own defeat by killing the parents of the Losers Club before they are even born. This is where Leroy Hanlon's journey comes to a head. He realizes the military was wrong the whole time. The key to confronting this thing wasn't being fearless, it was being willing to sacrifice. He faces Pennywise not to win, but to buy the children enough time to escape, and he seems to give his own life in the process. But the season doesn't just end in 1962. It makes one final, chilling leap forward to connect the failures of the past directly to the horrors of the future. We jump forward 26 years. The year is 1988. We are just 1 year away from Georgie Denbrough chasing a little paper boat into a storm drain. And in the final scene, we see an elderly Mrs. Kirsch, the strange woman from the asylum, and she's just staring intently at this young girl with fiery red hair playing outside. Yep, a young Beverly Marsh. It's a perfect illustration that the cycle is starting all over again, and the evil that the adults failed to stop has now become a dark inheritance for a whole new generation. And that leaves us with one final haunting question. This whole prequel suggests that Pennywise was actually made stronger by the arrogant actions of adults. So, if the adults are the ones who truly fed the monster, can a group of kids ever really be enough to starve it for good?